Alright, fuckers and fuckheads. Now, I got this half-crazed uncle of mine that makes a damn good point. He gets to mentioning, that Obama's got Czars. C-Z-A-R-S is how it's spelled. And if you want to Google it and see, am I telling the truth, you can. And if you Google their histories and you get in depth, you're going to find the same things that I did. But a lot of people don't know that Obama has actually appointed czars. Now, this goes back to, I don't know, last time I heard of a czar was communist Russia. Actually, a little bit before that, Marxist. But, yeah, who cares? Yeah, I do. Anyway, here's who they are and what they do. And I'm going to give you a little bit of history on each one. Granted, it's biased. But, hey, it's best to have the truth out there. Because, all right, you got Richard Holbrooke. Now, he's the czar in charge of Afghanistan. He is a super liberal, an ultra liberal. He's an anti-gun, that kind of liberal. He's former governor of New Mexico. He's pro-abortion. That's his only point in his favor because I believe, granted, I think if there's no health risk that, and there wasn't no rape involved, hey, abortion's a bad thing. But when you got 13-year-old rape victims, they should have a choice in getting rid of that kid. Or if the woman's going to die if she carries it to term, she should have a choice. It shouldn't be all this pro-life shit. So this guy's got that one point. He's pro-abortion. He's pro-legal drug use. Hell yeah, hook me up with some weed, motherfucker. Unfortunately, his major drawback is he has more than once tried to dissolve, or at least said that he's in favor of dissolving the Second Amendment, which is our right to keep and bear arms. I'm sorry, in this society, in this day and age, I got to have me a gun before I go to downtown Sarasota or Tampa, either one, because it just ain't safe anymore, and I'm too old to fight or stab these motherfuckers. If somebody comes up to rob me, I'm just going to shoot him. Anyway, now, moving on, you got Ed Montgomery. And he's the auto recovery czar. You remember that cash for clunkers, that failed-ass shit that wasted a lot of our tax dollars? Okay, his history, he is a black radical from hell. He's an anti-business activist. He's affirmative action all the way and job preference for blacks. He has proven himself to be a reverse racist on that point several times. And it only takes a little bit of Googling around, going past the first and second pages, getting into the real nitty-gritty to figure that out. University of Maryland Business School Dean, teaches U.S. business, has caused world poverty. That must be one of my uncle's comments. He was an Acorn board member, Communist Dubois Club member. Well, that makes me feel comfortable knowing he's advising our president. And then you got Jeffrey Crowley. Now, he's the AIDS czar. He is a radical homosexual. He's not your normal gay guy. He's a gay rights activist, but he's, I don't know, he's an extremist is the most kind term that I can, without being called some kind of homophobic redneck, which I actually am. I don't have anything against gays, okay? As long as they keep it to themselves, they ain't grabbing on my willy, I'm good with them. I don't give a shit what they do in the privacy of their own bedrooms. He believes in gay marriage, and especially a special status for homosexuals only, including complete free health care for gays. Now, what that special status, that's not just the normal special status. A lot of the legislation that he has supported, trying to get gay marriage legal and above board and all this happy shit, has been strictly giving it as a right to gays when it's not a right for the rest of us. I mean, granted, the rest of us can get a marriage license, but it's not our right to marry. But, that's the kind of legislation poorly written that this guy has supported many times in the past. Our border czar, Alan Burson, former failed superintendent of San Diego. He's an ultra-liberal friend of Hillary Clinton. He served as border czar under Janet Rito to keep borders open to illegals without interference from the U.S. government. David J. Hayes, he's the California water czar. He's a senior fellow of a very radical environmentalist group called Progress Policy. No training or experience in water management whatsoever, but he got the job. Maybe he got some on-the-job training, hell, who knows. Then we've got Ron Bloom, the car czar. He's an auto union worker, anti-business, anti-nuclear. He's worked hard to force U.S. automakers out of business. He sits on the board of Chrysler, which is now auto union owned. How did this happen? The government forced Chrysler to turn their company over to the employees. And this is one of the key players in that move, along with Obama himself. Then you've got Dennis Ross. Now, he's the Central Region czar. He personally has stated that he believes U.S. policy has caused the Mideast wars. Obama apologist to the world. He apologizes for everything Obama does. Anti-gun and completely pro-abortion. That's a good thing on that last one. Anti-gun, no, that ain't no good thing. You need a way to defend your home, yourself. Lynn Rosenthal, domestic violence czar, director of the National Network to End Domestic Violence. She is a vicious anti-male feminist. I mean, it bleeds through in everything that she writes. She has, in the past, supported male castration. Imagine that. You've got Joe Kerlikowski. He's the drug czar. He's a devoted lobbyist for every restrictive gun proposal. He's former chief of police in liberal Seattle. He's stated in the past that he believes no American should own a firearm, supports the legalization of all drugs. All right, we'll let him pass on that one. Give me my weed. That's all I want. You've got Paul Volcker. He's an economic czar. Head of the Federal Reserve under Jimmy Carter when the U.S. economy nearly failed. Obama appointed head of the Economic Recovery Advisory Board, which engineered the Obama economic disaster to U.S. economy. That's actually true. Member of anti-business Progressive Policy Organization. You've got Carol Brower, Energy and Environment Czar. Political radical former head of EPA, known for anti-business activism, strong anti-gun ownership. By the way, y'all, these are not just my uncle's notes that I'm reading. I'm reading some of my own little notes because I did verify most of what he had up there. And he was missing one. We've got Joshua Dubois, D-U-B-O-I-S. He's a faith-based czar. I have no idea why we have a faith-based czar. Political black activist, degree in black nationalism, anti-gun ownership lobbyist. What the hell do we need a faith-based czar for? Oh yeah, that's right. He's the one pushing all that let's be friendly to Muslim bullshit. Fuck, they're attacking us. Let's kill them and get them out of our country. Cameron Davis. She's the Great Lakes czar. She's a Chicago radical anti-business environmentalist. She blames George Bush for poisoning the water that minorities have to drink. No experience or training in water management. Former Acorn board member. And she must have got that job because she did Obama some favors in the 2008 election. And that's just a guess on my part. You got Van Jones. Now, he's the Green Jobs czar. And he's resigned, thank God. Black activist member of American Communist Party and San Francisco Communist Party who said George Bush caused the 9/11 attack and wanted Bush investigated by the World Court for War Crimes. Black activist with strong anti-white views, and it bleeds through in everything that man writes. You've got Daniel Fried, or Fried, F-R-I-E-D. I guess he's Fried. He's the Guantanamo closure czar. He's a human rights activist for foreign terrorists, period. He believes America has caused the war on terrorism, even though all we did was respond after we got attacked. You know, granted, the rest of the world doesn't like our response, but, you know, my personal opinion is, you fuck with America, we should have had green glass parking in that goddamn Iraqi desert the following day. Because that's what them nuclear bombs do. They give you this nice green glass. Anybody that's been to New Mexico can tell you that. He believes terrorists have rights above and beyond Americans. Me personally, I believe terrorists, if they have committed a crime against America or any of its citizens, the only thing they have a right to is a quick fucking bullet through the head. Unfortunately, I'm not in charge of shit, so that'll never happen. Nancy Ann DeParle, she's the health czar, former head of Medicare, Medicaid, strong health care rationing proponent. You know, that's them death boards. Grandma, she's old, she doesn't need help. She's that kind of motherfucker. She's married to a reporter for the New York Times. Vivek Kundra, information czar, born in New Delhi, India. This fucker isn't even American. Controls all public information, including labels and news releases. Monitors all private internet emails. Hello? We ain't kidding either. All means all. Todd Stern, he's the international climate czar. He's anti-business, former White House chief of staff, strong supporter of the Kyoto Accord. He's pushing hard for cap and trade. That's the only thing in his favor. Blames U.S. business for global warming. Anti-U.S. business prosperity. I'm sorry, U.S. businesses aren't responsible for global warming. I think that was Al Gore who also invented the internet. And they've just pushed that theory all to shit too, because they're saying that lack of volcanic ash and dust in the air is what's causing the global warming. And you got Dennis Blair. He's the intelligence czar. He's a retired Navy. Stopped U.S. guided missile program as proactive. He's the chair of the ultra-liberal Council on Foreign Relations, which blames American organizations for regional wars. I kid you not. George Mitchell, Mideast peace czar, former senator from Maine, left-wing radical. Not exactly from hell. I mean, he does have some valid ideas, not very many. Basically, my reading of the guy, from what I've read of what he has put out, he's a follower. I mean, whatever his buddies are going to do, he's going to do. That's just my personal opinion of it. Anyway, in the past, he has said Israel should be split up into 2 or 3 smaller, more manageable plots. A true anti-nuclear, anti-gun, and pro-homosexuals get special rights advocate. Again, that's right from his own writings. That's easy to find. Kenneth Feinberg, he's the pay czar, chief of staff to Ted Kennedy, lawyer who got rich off the 9/11 victims' payoffs. Very horribly, that is true. He got rich off those payoffs that were supposed to go to the 9/11 victims. Cass Sunstein, regulatory czar, liberal activist judge, believes free speech needs to be limited for the common good. I'm sorry, that woman needs to go right there. Essentially against the First Amendment, which is the one that guarantees us the right to free speech. Rules against personal freedoms many times, like private gun ownership and right to free speech. Oh, I'm sorry, Cass is a guy. But at any rate, Cass needs to be run the hell out of Washington. Anyone who does not believe in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights does not need to hold a job any place in government, and that includes the janitor of the smallest courthouse in the smallest town in America. That's just my opinion. You got John Holdren. He's the science czar. He is one of these ideological environmentalist. Sierra Club, he's an anti-business activist. Again, this fucker claims U.S. business has caused world poverty, and even though he's the science czar, he has no science training. You've got Earl Devaney. He's the stimulus accountability czar. Spent career trying to take guns away from American citizens. Believes in open borders to Mexico. Author of statement blaming U.S. gun stores for drug war in Mexico. And I kid you not, he really did that. You got J. Scott Gration, Gration. He's the Sudan czar. He's a native of the Democratic Republic of Congo. He's not even an American. What the fuck's he doing in our highest level of government? He believes the U.S. does little to help third world countries. I'm sorry, we're in debt right now from all that foreign aid ass bullshit. Council of Foreign Relations asking for higher U.S. taxes to support United Nations. We've got Herb Allison. He's the TARP czar. Fannie Mae CEO, responsible for the U.S. recession by using real estate mortgages to back up the U.S. stock market. Caused millions of people to lose their life savings. You've got John Brennan. He's the terrorism czar. He's an anti-CIA activist. No training in diplomatic or government affairs. Believes in open borders to Mexico, and a dialogue with terrorists has suggested Obama disband U.S. military. He is a total fucking moron. That's my personal opinion. You have Anish Chopra, C-H-O-P-R-A, technology czar. No technology training at all. Worked for the advisory board company. Now this is a think tank for hospitals, healthcare. Anti-doctor activist, supports Obama healthcare rationing and salaried doctors working exclusively for the government healthcare plan. Now you bear in mind, I mean, this shit's coming from their own writings and what they've actually done. Adolfo Carrion Jr., urban affairs czar, Puerto Rican-born anti-American activist and leftist group member in Latin America. Millionaire slumlord of the Bronx, New York. Owns many lavish homes and condo, which he got from sweetheart deals with labor unions. It's all public record, folks. Wants higher taxes on middle class to pay for minority housing and health care. Well, go figure. He's a fucking slumlord. He wants that Section 8 dollar to keep coming to him. Ashton Carter, weapons czar, leftist, wants all private weapons in the U.S. destroyed. Supports U.S. ban on firearms ownership in America and no other policy. Gary Smore, WMD policy czar. Former U.S. communist, wants U.S. to destroy all WMD unilaterally and as a show of good faith has no other policy. Now, these are the czars that Obama has appointed. So tell me, folks, how's that change working out for you? I'll holler at y'all fuckers and fuckheads later.